Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. For the past couple of years, we've reported in some detail, some horrifying detail, on how the professional left has totally transformed the city of San Francisco from this country's most beautiful city, our Cape Town, into a cesspool of filth, homelessness, and drug addiction. That is not an exaggeration. There are now more junkies in San Francisco than there are high school students. And so you won't be surprised to learn that the city has also become threatening and dangerous. The rate of property crime in San Francisco is the highest of any big city in America. More than 6 cars are smashed and robbed every single day of the year. It's a disaster. But don't worry, the city's leaders have a plan to respond to this. And of course, it's not more cops or better enforcement of the law. That would be bigoted. Instead, the city of San Francisco has decided to ban words that suggest San Francisco has a crime problem. People aren't allowed to talk about crime, maybe they won't notice crime exists. That's the thinking. So last month, the city's Board of Supervisors decreed that there will be no more convicted felons in San Francisco. Going forward, ex-cons are to be called, quote, justice-involved individuals. Well, as it happens, the people they committed crimes against are also, quote, justice-involved individuals. So, in other words, victim and criminal are now morally indistinguishable. That's on purpose. This is woke equality. But there's a problem. Back in Washington, leaders of the Democratic Party apparently haven't gotten the memo on this, and some are still using the term felon, which is the real F word. So you might want to send the kids from the room as we play the following clip. We warn you, it's ugly.
An overwhelming majority of Americans agree that anyone trying to buy a gun should at least have to prove that they're not a or somebody legally prohibited from owning one.
And I do support full restoration of rights to vote.
I think the policy of deporting made sense.
For all those young men, mostly of color, who got arrested and are now for life for selling that weed on the corner.
Every law-abiding citizen has a right to have a gun unless you're a
What enabled that young man to get a gun he was not entitled to. He was a and he had a conviction.
Sorry about all the F words. How insensitive can you get? Someone better call HR. Meanwhile, back in the city of San Francisco, there are no longer any juvenile delinquents. That whole category has disappeared. Criminals under 18 are now referred to as, quote, young people impacted by the juvenile justice system, as if the system and not the kid committed the crime, which is what the left, in fact, believes. It's your fault, not theirs. Check your privilege, middle America. Drug addicts, meanwhile, in San Francisco are now called people with a history of substance abuse. Rather, use. Use, not abuse. Get it? Heroin addicts are now the same as insulin-dependent diabetics. Both use substances. You can't call one better than the other. They're both exactly the same. Now, you could laugh this off at San Francisco, after all, where all the crazy things happen. But think through the implications. Language makes thought possible. When the words disappear, so does our ability to think about the ideas the words represent. When they prevent you from saying the obvious, over time it becomes impossible to see the obvious. And that's exactly, of course, why they do it. Those who control your words control your mind.